Okay, so let's continue. So today is lecture 12 and video is not off, no? I don't think the video is off. Maybe there's a bandwidth issue.
No, sir, it's on.
You can see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so yeah, let's continue. And so today is lecture 12 and a fresh month. So 1 month is over of our course, May is over. And uh, I have told you already that since we have done second order kind of slowly and with all the details, nth order you will find easy. And you will agree with me, right? Yesterday's lecture was relatively easy for all of you, right? Because you already knew what is to be expected. You agree, or is that not quite correct? Maybe one of you can tell me. Okay.
Yes, sir, it was easy.
Yeah. So this is what is to be expected. If you have followed second order very well, then what we are doing in nth order for homogeneous, non-homogeneous, all our methods are exactly parallel to that. So next few lectures will be like that. And then we will do Laplace transforms, which will be a new topic. Okay, so there again, your second order knowledge may not be useful because it's a new topic. Anyway, let me start sharing the screen. And as usual, one of you could confirm.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Very good, thank you. So I have many keywords today, but all of this you have already seen. So we will go a little bit fast. And undetermined coefficients, you already know this in second order. We will say today, we will have a couple of examples to show that the same technique, the same trick, the same method works in nth order. Then we will introduce a method called annihilator method. You know the English word annihilator, right? Annihilate means kill, meaning make it zero. Okay, that's how we use the word kill in mathematics. Okay, killed by meaning make it zero. So, so annihilator method is just another name in some sense for this method. It is going to give a little bit of theoretical explanation why this undetermined coefficients work. So basically it's the same method. Okay, but I will tell you what it is. And then variation of parameters again is something that you have seen, but we will do it in nth order. Okay. So one advantage of this is I don't need coefficients to be constants, etc. More generally, it will work. Okay, but let's do all this today. So let's start. So as I told you verbally before I started recording, maybe or soon after I started recording, it's June. May is over, so second month of our course, and I think this month end will be your exams, right? June end, I think,
Yes,
is
sir.
exams. So yeah, the course is, I mean, more than half the course is over. It looks like. Okay. So, all right. And this also I told you, you will find that what we have to do now is kind of easy because we have covered all these already for second order equations. As you see, right? Today we are going to do undetermined coefficients and variation of parameters, and you have already seen this. So, why are these methods there? These methods are to solve the non-homogeneous equation. So, what was the idea? If you have a non-homogeneous equation, so notice that the right-hand side is no longer zero. You have a function here. All these are assumed to be continuous on an interval. We want to solve this. And what was the idea in n equal to 2? Can one of you tell me? How did you solve non-homogeneous? The general solution.
We used to guess a general function and then substitute it to get the coefficients.
We
For
first
That is undetermined coefficients.
we first find it for the non-homogeneous and find the others for the homogeneous
Yes.
and
So
take
find the general solution for the homogeneous and find any one particular solution for the non-homogeneous, and then you have solved non-homogeneous completely. Okay, so this was the idea. To get a general solution of the non-homogeneous equation, it was enough to solve the homogeneous equation completely and to somehow, this is where we have these methods, undetermined coefficients, variation of parameters, etc. Somehow get one solution of the non-homogeneous equation. What is the proof of this in n equal to 2? If you have one solution, suppose you have this non-homogeneous equation n equal to 2, and you have got one solution, let us say f is one particular solution, and then what do? And suppose you have solved the homogeneous thing and you got y1 and y2. So any solution of the homogeneous will be c1.
C1 y1 plus C2 y2 plus f.
Yeah, so how do you prove that? I'm asking you to recall the proof. So if f is one solution and if y1 and y2 are general solutions, then you notice that f minus c1 y1 minus c2 y f minus, how did you do this?
So take two functions which satisfies the non-homogeneous equation phi and f.
Substitute it in the
So
G.
if you have f and g satisfying the non-homogeneous, if f is given and if g is another function satisfying the non-homogeneous equation, then g minus f satisfies the homogeneous equation, and g minus f can be written as c1 y1 plus c2 y2. Therefore, g equal to f plus c1 y1 plus c2 y2. Do you agree that this proof works for n also?
Yes, sir.
Because if you have f as one particular solution, and now you have how many solutions for the homogeneous part, linearly independent? N solutions. So instead of y1, y2, you just have to say y1, y2, etc., yn. And if g is another solution, you do g minus f. G minus f satisfies the homogeneous equation. Therefore, g minus f will be of the form c1, y1 plus c2, y2 plus etc. plus cn, yn. Therefore, g is c1, y1 plus etc. plus cn, yn plus f. So there's no difference. The conceptually the proof is exactly the same. Instead of n equal to 2, you have to do dot 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 plus n. Other than that, there's no change. So this is the key learning. Whatever we did for 2 will work for n. Okay, yes. So our interest is in finding one particular solution. We had two methods to do this. One is called undetermined coefficients and the other is called variation of parameters. For n equal to 2, you have already done this. Let's do the same thing for n. So n equal to 2 undetermined coefficients, you have to guess a trial solution involving undetermined coefficients, and then you determine those coefficients. Okay, you make undetermined determine. Okay, determine those. And this method was applicable only for special types of Rx. So what were the Rx that we could do this? It could be sine or cos,
E power x,
Exponential.
it could be
Polynomial.
polynomial.
cos polynomial.
It could be polynomial and could be a little bit of mix, like e power something times sine, that also worked. And then of course, you can have a sum of all these things, which we will do. If you have sum of n functions on the right hand side, you will do n subquestients. So this is how you did undetermined coefficients.
Sir,
Yeah.
what if there is e power sin x, then also it's valid?
No. E power ax times sine bx was valid, but e power a sine x, no, we did not do that, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
certain things only will work, certain things will not work. And I will theoretically explain a little bit what will work. So maybe, a function which we did not discuss might work, may not work, we will see. When we discuss annihilator method, you will see exactly what will work for undetermined coefficients. Okay. So wait for a few slides. So you also had to decide whether or not to modify your initial guess, right? This was a problem, no? How did you solve this problem? You will have the initial guess, and sometimes you have to, slightly tinker the initial solution. You have to modify it a little bit. When did you have to modify?
If that was
Solution is the solution of the
Solution
homogeneous.
of the homogeneous.
Already a solution of the homogeneous equation, then the method will not work, because when you plug it in, you will get 0 equal to something. So then you had to modify. And how did you modify?
Multiply by
by
x.
powers of
By
x.
x. If that was also part of homogeneous, then
Powers of x, x square x.
Add
this process will not go on and on. It will stop. Why? Multiply by x square, multiply by x power 1000, dot, dot, dot. Will it continuously go on and on? No, it will stop. Why?
The basis of the homogeneous
Dimension.
is fine.
Right number of solutions.
Yeah, because n number of solutions are they linearly independent. So multiplying up to x power n minus 1 is enough. After that you don't have to. So this will work. So it's a good method. So depending on whether or not the first guess is already accounted for by the associated homogeneous equation. So you know this method very well. Exactly same idea works for n. So we will only do a few examples. Okay. So what will you do first? You will anyway solve this, no, homogeneous part. Why do you have to solve the homogeneous part? Because you want to understand finally whether you have to multiply by x, etc. So solve the homogeneous part. What is a characteristic polynomial? X square plus, x power 4 plus
2x
plus 2x square plus 1. So what are the roots?
M equal to plus or minus I.
Plus or minus I coming how many times? You have to repeat also.
2 times.
2 times. So 2
2
times.
times.
Okay. So this is the characteristic polynomial, x square plus 1 whole square. So I coming twice and minus I coming twice. So what is the basis for the solution space? I and minus I will give you what?
Sin x, cos x, x sin x, x cos x.
Very good. Sin x, cos x. Because of the repetition, x sin x, x cos x. Agree? Now, what would be your initial guess looking at the right hand side for undetermined coefficient?
A sin x plus b cos x.
Yeah,
X square.
be there. Therefore, you will multiply by x. So you will get x sin x and x cos x, but that is also there. Therefore, what will be your guess now?
X square sin x, x square cos x.
Put A and B. There should be a coefficient to be determined. So the candidate is x square times a cos x plus b sin x. Plug it in, the method will work. Okay, so plug this in and do this. If there is a typo, you tell me later and you can solve and you would have solved. Is the method absolutely clear? So solve the homogeneous part, get a basis, look at the right side, make your initial guess, modify appropriately and plug that in and solve. Okay, let's do one more. What is the characteristic polynomial? X power 4 minus
x cube.
Minus x cube minus x square plus x.
plus x. Can you please solve it and tell me the roots?
X equal to 0, 1.
X equal to 1.
2 times 1 omega square.
So roots are 0, minus 1 coming once and 1 coming twice, and therefore the basis will be from x. What do you get?
Constant.
Constant. So you can take 1 as a basis element, and x plus 1 will give you e power
X.
x plus 1.
E power minus
Or minus x.
Power minus x, and x minus 1 square will give you two things, e power x and
C power.
x into e power.
C power x.
very good. So you have got this. And now this is, sub problems, right? How many sub problems you have to do here?
3.
X sin x is one problem and x square plus 4 is another problem. You don't have to do this separately because it's a polynomial anyway. So x square plus 4, what will be your initial guess? Initial guess for
Ax
square plus
bx plus c.
ax square plus bx plus c. Say that again. I can't hear you clearly. So x square plus 4 gives you the candidate ax square plus bx plus c. Do you need to modify it?
मान ली e की पावर m1 x e की पावर m2 x को सॉल्यूशन है m1 और m2 नॉट इक्वल है एक दूसरे और तो ये फंक्शन एक कांस्टेंट फंक्शन नहीं होगा तो इस लिखा है मतलब है कि दिस आर लीनियरली इंडिपेंडेंट ऐसा कुछ होता है क्या
Are you telling me or are you discussing amongst yourselves? Dheeraj, are you talking to me? I'm confused. Feel free, just come and tell me. Are you talking to me or are you talking amongst yourselves? Both are okay. Both are okay. This is a class. It's okay. Okay. So coming back, x square plus 4, your initial guess is ax square plus bx plus c. Do you need to modify it?
Yes, sir, because C means basis function for C is 1, which is solution of kernel.
Therefore, you have to multiply by Multiply ax square plus bx plus c by
X.
x. Do you need to multiply by x square? No need. So this you have to multiply by x, and coming to this, what will be the candidate? Candidate will be
Ax sin x plus bx cos x.
x times a sin x plus b cos x. So let's see, candidate will be x square plus 4 suggests a general quadratic polynomial, but we should modify by multiplying by x because constant function is there. And x sin x will suggest, so here also, because there is x, right? So this will suggest a general degree 1 polynomial. So alpha x plus beta is suggested by x, and sin x suggests both sin x and cos x should be there. So here, x sin x, you have to put alpha x plus beta cos x plus gamma x plus delta sin x, right? When you have an x that is polynomial of degree 1, so you take the general polynomial of degree 1. Okay, and sin x suggests both cos x and sin x, so you'll have to have coefficients general degree 1 polynomial here. Okay, and do we need to modify this part? No, because nothing is coming in the homogeneous part. So this will help, and you do this, and so the final candidate is this, both put together. But will you put this together and do, or will you solve it separately and club it? It's up to you, whatever you want. Okay, I would have done it separately, but if you think this is better, you can go ahead.
Sir?
Yeah.
Here, why we are modifying x of C, only C is the part, no? We should modify everything again.
Say that again.
Since C is already a solution, I mean, 1 is already a solution, no?
Yeah, but our method is, once you have a quadratic polynomial, you will take the general quadratic polynomial.
Yes, sir.
And because this has a part, see, this is just a method. If you are saying that maybe, you know, one of these coefficients anyway you can assume to be 0, this we discussed. Suppose you are making the extra argument that, you know, you don't have to take in this generality, you may be right. That depends on, that depends on the context. Maybe you are right, but in general, I cannot guarantee that. So what I'm saying is the method of undetermined coefficients, you have to take the most general form.
Okay.
Okay. So this will be the most general thing. That's why, you know, I'm taking this. You know, if you are telling me, do you need both alpha and beta? I'm not 100% sure, but the method suggests the most general form. And see, you take the most general thing, and what might happen is when you plug it in and solve, certain things may turn out to be 0. That's okay. So always take the most general thing so that there will be no mistake. Okay,
Sir, why did you put an x in the quadratic polynomial?
Say that again.
Why did you multiply the quadratic with x?
Because if you did not multiply, you have ax square plus bx plus c, right? But c is already accounted by 1, right? C is already a solution of the homogeneous part, no?
Yes, sir.
So the method would not have worked if you just put this here. So you have to multiply by x.
So why would it not have worked?
You have to try. So you plug it in and see. Okay. So even if this works in this particular example, I am saying that in general it will not work. So our method is, whenever you have something which is already part of the homogeneous equation, then you have to multiply by x. That's for the method.
Sir,
is it clear or still there's a doubt?
Sir,
Okay, sir.
Sir, should we add a final constant to this expression?
No, we don't need to, no?
Because all there are least there is 1, so the constant will get nullified.
But that's okay, right? Why do you have to add a constant anyway? Constant will get nullified anyway, no? We are what are these methods? These methods are giving you one particular solution. If you add a constant, you will get another particular solution.
Okay, sir.
Okay. These methods are to give you, see, what is our idea? Our idea is to get somehow one particular solution, and you have the general solution for the homogeneous part.
Yes, sir.
So constant you don't have to add. Constant you can add later. In order to give the general solution, you can add any linear combination of. Okay. So let's do one more example. Here, what is a characteristic polynomial? X power 4 minus
2x square
plus 1. So that is x square minus 1. What are the roots?
1, 1, minus 1, minus 1.
1 coming twice and minus 1 coming twice. So kernel solution spaces 1 coming twice e power x and x e power x, and minus 1 coming twice, so e power minus x and x e power minus x. Now there are two problems here. Let us take this first, e power 2x. What will be your candidate solution?
A e power 2x.
A e power 2x. Do you need to modify it?
No.
No. Okay, so no need to modify. Now what will be your, so that no need to modify. And now what will be your solution? Because of e power x, what will be your candidate?
X square e power x plus
E power x.
But what? X square is a polynomial of degree 2, so you have to take the general polynomial of degree 2. The constant a is already used, so what will be the general degree 2 polynomial?
Dx square plus cx plus d.
Dx square plus cx plus d times e power x. But do you need to modify?
Yes, sir.
Constant
Multiply by
X square.
X square.
Okay, so no modification required for e power 2x, but this initially suggests this, but you have to modify by x square because e power x and x e power x are coming, so you have to modify by x square. So that's the method. So final candidate will be this. Okay. Now let us do this annihilator method. This is just
excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if in the previous question x e power x is in the basis but e power x is not in the basis.
Yeah.
So not this one, the next one.
This one, no?
Next one.
Next one, okay. Yeah.
What if e power x is not there in the basis but x e power x is in the basis? So will this method work?
So if such a thing is coming, but first of all, can such a thing come? Can you think of a constant coefficient ODE where x e power x is coming and e power x is not coming? Because if x e power x is coming, then you have d minus 1 whole square, no? So e power x will automatically be there.
Okay, so the case is not possible.
Case is not possible, yeah. But regardless, I will answer your question, though that case is not possible. Even if that is the case, you have to multiply by x square. You go for the highest and do it, but it doesn't come. Okay. Clear, no?
Okay, sir.
Now let's do annihilator method. Very simple strategy. So this will systematically explain, why undetermined coefficient actually works. Okay. So you are interested in Ly equal to Rx, and we said that undetermined coefficient works if for some nice functions. And what are those nice functions? By nice functions, we mean functions. So we are dealing with some nice functions Rx. These are typically, these Rx has a property that what kills Rx, you are able to guess from your experience. Whenever that is there, you can use undetermined coefficient. Okay. So e power x will work because, the moment you see e power x, you can think of a differential operator which will kill e power x. Annihilate means kill. What will kill e power x? If Rx is e power
d
x,
minus 1.
d minus 1. If e power 2x is there, d minus 2. If x e power 2x is there, then d minus 2 whole square. So such functions where you can easily guess a killing function, okay, an annihilator, linear operator, then those things, undetermined coefficients will work, and we are going to explain why it works. Okay. So if you have Ly equal to Rx, and if you could guess an A which kills Rx, what will you do to this equation? You just apply A to this equation. What will you get if you apply A to this equation?
RHS becomes 0.
RHS becomes 0 and LHS is
Homogeneous.
LHS is A composed with L. So you get a homogeneous equation ALY equal to 0. And homogeneous, we have a method, no? So you take the characteristic polynomial, and that is the characteristic polynomial of A times the characteristic polynomial of L. And your homogeneous method will solve for this. And therefore, you would have solved in particular. For example, let us do what you have to do here. Right hand side Rx is this. Can you guess an A which will kill this? Give me a constant coefficient linear operator which kills this.
D power 5.
D power 5. Very good. And what is L? L is D power 4 minus 16. So A is D power 5. So you apply D power 5. So you got this homogeneous equation, and this you solve. What is the characteristic polynomial of this equation? X power 5 times x power 4 minus 16. So you factorize. So what are the bases now corresponding to this? X power 5. What is the basis corresponding to x power 5?
Constant x, x square, x cube, x power 4.
Correct. And this corresponds to?
E power
2x.
Corresponds to?
E power minus 2x.
And this corresponds to?
Sin 2x plus 2x.
Correct. So the general solution is of this form, and we are interested in solving for L, right? L of this is anyway 0. By definition, L of this is 0. And therefore, you got the answer which you guessed in undetermined coefficients. Okay, so this is just the method of undetermined coefficients packaged in some other way. So you can apply this as your thing, but these coefficients you don't have to bother because these are already part of homogeneous. Therefore, you can plug this in and solve C1, etc., C5. Okay. Let's do one more. So this we have done, and you will get some answer. Let's do one more example. So what is A here? What is A?
D minus 1
square. And L is kernel of L you have already found out, and A is D minus 1 whole square. So this is true. So you have to find A and B such that L of A e power x plus bx e power x equal to x e power x. Why don't I put all other things? Actually, the method is you have to put A e power x plus bx e power x plus c e power 2x plus d e power 3x. But this is already part of L, homogeneous part, so you can ignore it also. Okay. And therefore, you get this and you can solve that. Is the method clear? Yes. So you're using this method by which you guessed undetermined coefficient. What should it be? It is exactly that method. It's just another name and another way of doing the same thing. I'm not doing more examples, but do this as an exercise. Yeah. Do this as an exercise that you can solve all this by annihilator method, so that you would have gained more experience. Now let's come to variation of parameters. Very, very interesting. So we had a little bit of theory, right? There was a trick which we did. I think I'm going to recall that. Variation of parameters, how did the theory work? You use Cramer's rule and all that, right? So let's recall that. What did we do for any two? We started by, first you solve the associated homogeneous equation. You got C1y1 plus C2y2 as the general solution. And then what was the next step? Please tell me.
We take like C1, C2 variables.
You take C1 and C2, you replace by variables. Variable functions V1 of x and V2 of x. Replace C1 and C2 by variables V1 and V2. C1 and C2 are also variables. What I mean is variable functions. V1x and V2x, so that you get the candidate solution yx equal to V1y1 plus V2y2. What is the next step? What is the next step?
Differentiate.
Differentiate. So when you differentiate, you will get, so this is the solution of this you're assuming, differentiate, you will get V1y1 prime plus V2y2 prime plus V1 prime y1 plus V2 prime y2. What was the most important next step?
assuming
V1 dash Y1 plus V2 dash Y2 0.
Assume that you can solve so that which what was your assumption now?
V1 Y1 prime plus V2 Y2 prime is 0.
V1 prime Y1 plus V2 prime Y2 is 0, or V1 Y1 prime plus V2 Y2 prime is 0?
V1
V1
prime
Y1 prime.
Y1 plus V2 prime.
V1 prime Y1 plus V2 prime Y2 is 0. What was the idea? The idea was that you are going to take Y double prime after that. And when you take Y double prime, you are going to plug it in, right? You're going to plug it in. So if you demand that V1 prime Y1 plus V2 prime Y2 is 0, then only this will remain. And this you are going to take one more prime. So you will get V1 Y1 double prime, V1 Y1 double prime plus V1 prime Y1 prime plus V2 Y2 double prime plus V2 prime Y2 prime, which you will substitute in this. Okay, and you will end up with one more equation, and that equation together with this equation will be a linear system which you will solve. This was the idea. Okay, so when you substitute all these things in the non-homogeneous differential equation, rearrange terms, use the fact that y is a solution, all these things when you do, you get V1 prime Y1 prime plus V2 prime Y2 prime equal to Rx. Where did Y1 double prime Y2 double prime go? So that because when you substituted here and rearrange Y1 double prime plus Px Y1 prime plus Qx Y1 equal to Rx, you can substitute. Similarly for Y2, and cancellations will be there. And finally, you will end up with this. And now this was good because here you have V1 prime Y1 prime plus V2 prime Y2 prime is Rx. And here you have V1 prime Y1 plus V2 prime Y2 is 0. So you got a system of two equations with what are the unknowns?
V1 prime, V2 prime.
Prime and V2 prime. So you can solve for V1 prime and V2 prime because Y1, Y2, Y1 prime, Y2 prime you already know, right? You have solved the homogeneous equation. So you know Y1, Y2, Y1 prime, Y2 prime. The unknowns are V1 prime and V2 prime. You can solve for V1 prime and V2 prime. And if you solve for V1 prime and V2 prime, you can get V1 and V2 by integrating. This was the method. So both together gave you by Cramer's rule V1 prime and V2 prime. And therefore you got V1 and V2. Now the question is, can you do this in n variables? Okay. So let us verbally say what might happen first. At this stage, what will happen? Okay. At this stage, what will be the change? Forget recall, and what will we do? NS?
Some arbitrary n.
NS, n itself. N is arbitrary. At this stage, what will happen?
C1, C2 till Cn.
Etc. Cn, right? And that you will replace by functions. What will be your notations?
V1,
V1, V2,
V1, V2, etc. Vn. So that Yx will be of the form
V1, Y1 plus V2, Y2 plus so on till Vn, Yn.
Vn, Yn. What will be your next step?
when we differentiate whatever terms which are like not V1 Y1 prime plus V2 Y2 prime will be equated to 0. And then when we differentiate again.
Absolutely correct. Thank you. So if there are n terms here, the derivative will have 2n terms, out of which n terms will be of this form and n terms will be of this form. Which one you will demand to be equal to 0?
Vn prime.
The highlighted part, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the highlighted part you demand to be 0. So now what will you do after that?
When we differentiate again, since we have demanded this part to be 0.
So you would have got y prime equal to sum of n terms here, that you differentiate again. Y double prime equal to, you will get 2n terms, out of which n terms will come with V1 and n terms will come with V1 prime. And what will be your next step? If you tell me that, you have completely understood.
The ones that are coming with V1 prime, we have to set them to 0. The sum of those to be 0.
You set that to be 0. And that will come with Y1 double prime, Y2 double prime, etc. Right? Right? That you
The
set.
remaining will be with y1 double prime.
Correct.
Which are not set.
Correct. So that you set to be 0 and continue this process till what stage?
Till y
Nth derivative.
Derivative. N minus first derivative. Okay. And then you take derivative once again and plug it in. What will be the form of this equation? It will be y nth derivative plus a coefficient times n minus first derivative dot 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 equal to Rx. When you plug in and rearrange, what do you think will happen?
You will have some terms which are
Some cancellation will be there, and you will get n equations. You will get n equations. What will be the variables in those equations?
v1 prime, v2 prime, so on till vn prime.
Absolutely correct. And what will be the matrix in the linear system?
y1 x y.
y1,
y1, y2, y1 prime, y2 prime, etc. up to. So that is the Wronskian. And what will be the right hand side column matrix?
0, 0, 0,
0, 0,
Rx.
0 up to n minus 1, and last one will be
r of x.
Rx.
So you agree? I mean, beautifully, all of you have proved this for me, so I didn't have to do any work. Everything goes through, Cramer's rule goes through. So you will get here 0, 0, etc. Rx, and the rest, from that Wronskian matrix. So theoretically, you can solve for v1 prime, v2 prime, etc. vn prime, and therefore you would have solved for v1, etc. vn. Okay. So whatever we have discussed, I have written down. So once again, you tell me all the answers that you have already told me. You start guessing the changes. I have made you do this already, and you have done an excellent job. So I'm very happy about it. And I have put it in the slides for those people who have not come to the class or those who have not fully got it. So once again, you can answer C1 y1 plus C2 y2, we will change to
C1 y1 plus C2 y2 till Cn yn.
absolutely correct. And y equal to V1 y1 plus V2 y2, we will change to
V1 y1 V2 y2 till Vn yn.
there V1, V2, etc. Vn, we don't know. Okay, we are going to solve for this. Y1, y2, etc. Yn we know, and V1, V2, etc. Vn we don't know. So you take different. This is what you did last time, n equal to 2. Now what will we do? Take derivative. You would have got this term. Okay, and earlier you demanded that this is 0, and now you will demand that this is 0. Now you will differentiate this and demand. See your final, this is how you remember it. There are two ways of remembering this. One, you need all this in order to substitute. You need higher derivative to come. So these should be there. And what we demand is this part, because your linear system will be a system where unknowns are v1 prime, v2 prime, etc. So that is how you are demanding. You're demanding so that the coefficients remain v1 prime, v2 prime, etc. And the matrix will have y1 prime, y1 double prime, etc. So that the Wronskian matrix comes. So demand that this is 0. Okay. And then dot.
Can you repeat this again?
This what I am saying is, here you have to demand something, right? That much you remember. You have to demand something. Now the only confusion is you are demanding this to be 0 or this to be 0. I'm saying that there are two ways of remembering this. One way, whatever remains, you will demand something to be 0, and whatever remains should be such a term where higher derivatives should remain, because only then you can plug it in. No, in the differential equation you have all the derivatives up to nth order. Suppose at this stage you demanded this to be 0 and this remains. This remains. Then when you are not getting second derivative here, right? So if you continuously take derivative, and whatever you demand, you are not going to hit nth derivative. In order to hit nth derivative at the last step, you need second derivative to remain here. Agree with that point?
Yes, sir.
That is one way. Easier way, forget whatever I said now, which is correct, but easier way is, this is how I remember what I'm going to tell you now. What I told you now is not how I remember. What I'm going to tell you now is how I remember. Because if you demand this to be 0, and then in the next thing also, if you demand the v1 prime things, etc. to be 0, I will get y1 double prime, etc. there. So I will end up with a linear system where the known parts will be the Wronskian. Y1 will be there, Y1 prime will be there, Y1 double prime will be there, and the unknown parts is V1 prime. And therefore, I can solve for V1 prime, V2 prime, etc. Whereas if you have demanded this to be 0, then you are going to get, this problem will be there. Anyway, so if you demand this to be 0, you will have an equation in V1. And in the next stage, you demand, if you demand this to be 0, this is the problem. If you demand this to be 0, you're not hitting the nth derivative. You're not hitting the nth derivative. Suppose you demand this to be 0. Of course, you have an equation in V1, etc., Vn. But what will be your next step? You're going to take derivative of this and plug it in. No, you are going to take derivative of this, and then what will you demand? There's nothing good to demand, right? If you demanded this to be 0, then this is what is remaining. And if you take derivative here, what will be the terms? Terms will be V1 prime, Y1 double prime, and V1 double prime, Y1 prime. Whichever one you demand to be 0, that is not matching with this, no. This equation had V1 as unknown. Whatever you demand from the next stage will have either V1 prime or V1 double prime. So you are not getting the same coefficient, same variable. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's only one way in which the method is working, which is to demand this to be 0. And continue this n times and plug it in. So you would have computed up to several terms and then plug it in this. And this is the last stage. And after this, you are substituting y prime, y double prime, etc. by y prime, y double prime, etc. y n minus first derivative. And you rearrange in n equal to 2. And what will you do now? What is the substitution for the word rearranging? Tell me something so that I can go ahead. It's not a real maths question. It's just a fun question. Tell me something so that I can say yes or no and go ahead. Up to now, you have understood, no? This is what we are doing. So you have got a system of many equations, right? In V1 prime, you got with y1 prime, etc. to be 0. And after many steps, you have got with n minus 2, etc. to be 0. Here it was with y1 prime, etc. to be 0. And here you have got n minus 2, etc. to be 0. And when you substitute and rearrange, you will get one more equation. What will be that equation? You have already answered this, but say that once again. When you substitute and rearrange, what will be the equation?
Summation vi prime yi per n minus 1 equals r of x.
Correct.
Prime y1 n minus 1 plus v2 prime y2 n minus 1 so on equal to r of x.
Is it y1 n minus 1 or y1? Go back to r equal to 2, n equal to 2. When you do this, okay, you got v1 prime, y1 prime plus v2 prime, y2 prime equal to rx. And here you had y1, y2. Correct, you are right. Okay, so you started with y1, y2, and then you got this term and you put this together. So here, similarly, you are demanding, your first one was y1, etc. yn is 0. And next one was y1 prime, etc. yn prime is 0. And last one was n minus 2 plus n minus up to n minus 2 is 0. And put this and rearrange and you will get v1 prime y1 n minus 1 plus vn prime yn n minus 1 equal to, you answered this already, equal to
Rx.
Okay. So that's what we are saying here. Substituting all this, you are substituting by up to nth derivative. And rearranging, what is the substitution here? Nothing. I mean, you have to rearrange. Okay, so rearranging and using Ly1 equal to Ly2 equal to 0. Here you are going to do Ly1 equal to 0 up to Lyn equal to 0. and you got v1 prime y1 prime plus v2 prime y2 prime equal to rx, and here you are going to get v1 y1 power n minus 1 up to vn prime yn n minus first derivative equal to rx, and you got this earlier, and this takes the shape the Wronskian times the unknown functions equal to 0 0 etc rx, and this you can solve, and you would have got v1 prime equal to something, v2 prime equal to something, etc, vn prime equal to something, and therefore you can get v1 v2 etc vn by just integrating. No problem, right? There's no difference between 2 and n because v1 prime does not have a v2 in it. So these are all functions of x alone. So by integrating v1 prime you get v1, integrating v2 prime you get v2 etc, and therefore you got, so variation of parameters works beautifully. Okay, exactly as the case n equal to 2, it will work, and you can do. And the advantage is, am I assuming that the coefficients are constant in the given equation? Am I assuming that the coefficients are constant? No. I'm not assuming that. I just need to get C1 and C2, and I need to change it by V1 and V2. So this method can work even in non-constant case. Okay, so whenever you can solve a homogeneous equation, in all those cases you can apply variation of parameters. Agree? So it's a beautiful method. Can you see a crow behind me? Okay, it has gone now. So very good. So you can do this as an exercise, and we can end there. I'm not working out an example, but let us just discuss how will you do this using variation of parameters. By the way, do you need variation of parameters for this? Okay, how many of you think that this can be done without variation of parameters?
We can try annihilator.
Annihilator will work. Annihilator, you needed constant coefficients. But is this constant coefficient?
So first we will apply annihilator to the x square plus 1 side, and first we'll apply the annihilator. So x square plus twice, so x square plus 1 would become constant, and then it's x e to the power x.
No, but you cannot apply annihilator to this. No, annihilator was always for the right hand side. These are the coefficients of this polynomial.
Undetermined coefficients won't work, I think.
It will not work.
Not in a nice manner.
Coefficients will not work because undetermined coefficients is for constant coefficient operator. Here the coefficient is not constant. It is x square plus 1.
Even
so
if you take
can say divide by x square plus 1 and make it constant coefficient. But if you divide by x square plus 1, then you get constant coefficient. That's a good thing. But what will be the right hand side?
Won't be nice.
E power x by x square plus 1. Now the question is it nice or not nice? So what is our general definition of nice? Nice is something where you can guess an a which will solve the function. Can you guess an a which will solve e power x by x square plus 1 together?
No.
No, so it's not nice. Okay, but variation of parameters should work, no?
Yes, yes.
Variation of parameters will easily work because you will take the associated homogeneous equation, and associated homogeneous equation, what are the solutions?
E power x and x e power x.
Correct, because x square plus 1 did not complicate it at all, because this equal to 0 is same as this equal to 0. So you easily got e power x and e power x e power x. So you will take v1x plus v2x e power x and do our method. And you can easily solve. Actually, this is n equal to 2 only. So this problem I could have asked earlier. And then you will solve for this and then get the general solution. So general solution will be of what form? It will be some particular solution f plus c1x plus c2x e power ex, right? And in that you put y of 0 equal to, yeah. Is there a question?
The homogeneous solution is y double dash minus 2y equal to 0.
Say that again.
Here the homogeneous equation is y double dash minus 2y equal to 0. So its solutions will be e power minus root 2x and e power plus root 2x.
Is the homogeneous part y double prime minus 2y equal? Right. So I missed this, you know. Yeah, correct. It is not. Yeah. So here, yeah. So I was totally wrong. You know, this is the common mistake that everyone makes, which I made. I thought of this as y. That is not true. So you have to rewrite the whole thing. So the homogeneous. So what is this equation if you rewrite? It is. You have to rewrite this. So you have to write this as y double prime minus 2y plus 1 equal to e power x by x square plus 1. So thank you for pointing out, but that's not the final equation. Equation is y double prime minus 2y equal to e power x by x square plus 1 minus 1. Correct? So y
Yes,
double prime minus 2y equal to 0 is the homogeneous part. So what are the solutions? It's not e power x and x e power x, but this is x square minus 2 equal to 0. So x equal to root 2 and minus root 2. So e power root 2x and e power minus root 2x. Agree? That's correct, no? D square minus 2. So e power root 2x and e power minus root 2x. So particular solution you find by variation of parameters. And you would have got the answer to be C1 e power root 2x plus C2 e power minus root 2x plus whatever particular solution you have found. That is y. Take derivative, you will get y prime. Apply y of 0 is 1, y prime of 0 equal to 1, so that you can evaluate C1 and C2. So that will be the solution. Okay, so do this. And let me know the answer in the next class. Okay, so we can stop here. So let me stop sharing the screen and let me stop recording.